the universe where people don't act all friendly. Why is this not all like broad? It's like a very small little corner thing down here. I don't know what's up with that. Anyways, okay. Are we still operational? Says we are. Says we're still alive. I can't tell, and I can't see anything anymore. That's because the camera's turned off. There we go. Alright, so, I've been sitting out here at my house, just working on music and stuff, and working on ideas, working on myself. In the, I don't even know if these are doing the mic. These might be the microphone. I don't know. I know the sound's coming out, so they might be microphoning too. I don't know. Just in case, I'll keep these nearby. So, just been working on myself for a long time. I've joked that I'm not getting older, I'm getting better. I've actually decided to make that true. 7 months ago, I was 230 pounds. Today, I'm about 180. A little over 180 fully dressed. Minus shoes, but 182.6, I think is what it was. Yeah. So, it's not like really a whole lot. It's just eating better. It's a matter of exercising. I always take some time off. One of the things I've seen with a lot of people, especially when the way I was, like I didn't exercise at all. So the little exercise I did had major impact. But eventually, if you keep doing that, your body gets used to it. And as your body gets used to it, then it doesn't have the same impact. Well, if you take like about 4 or 5 days off, nothing, not even 4 or 5, maybe like 3 or 4 days, maybe the weekend, and then get back to it, your body, it'll adjust back to it, but it takes a few days before your system is like, yeah, this is what we do. And then right about that time, you're about ready to take another break. And so it may not be as effective as when you first started, but it will continue to be effective. So, yeah, there's that. I've been learning, what's up, man? Insidious. Nice PG background. Or what, I don't know. I can't really see. I saw a message pop up, but I can't really see too much of it. So, but yeah, learning a little bit of foreign languages, learning a bit of philosophy. There's a lot of I've been mentioning about my novel that I wrote, and I don't really read a whole lot. So I just kind of had this idea that's been floating around my head for a bit, and I decided to write it out as a novel. My sister's actually a published author, and her book was being in the works. And I was like, you know what, I ought to just go ahead and take the time and commit this book down. And I went ahead and did it, and I was engaged at the time, and my fiance, she read it and said it was more like a list. I felt like I was boring people. I always feel like I'm boring people, so I try not to go too in depth with my details. She said more like a list of stuff. I was like, so you want it to be longer? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh shit, step back. And so I just started, just really kind of going into it. And then she edited that a bit and made it much more like an actual book. Because I was just kind of like free-forming what my mind was thinking. So she gave it more structure, more of a look and everything like that, like a regular book. Made some corrections to obviously my bad grammar. There are several places where like she would just like turn the book towards me and go, "What the fuck is this supposed to mean?" and I'd be like, I'd read it, and I'm like, I have no idea. 'Cause, like the sentence would be so jumbled and jarbled, and you have to read like the first like three lines before and a couple of lines after to kind of how did it bridge and like okay, and I explain what it is, and like yeah, that should be two sentences, not one. So yeah, uh, yeah, and eventually I'm like right now I'm at the third I call it the third edition, and I feel like it's an actual novel. There's some things I'm not completely happy about, but an actual editor would go through and probably help that. There's sometimes like there's a couple places I use the word absolutely way too much. It's like, dude, don't you know any other adjectives besides absolutely? Absolutely gorgeous hair, absolutely. I just kept saying I wanted to after I was listening to the audiobook I made of it. I wanted to slap myself for saying absolutely so many times. I feel like Samuel L. Jackson. Say absolutely one more damn time. Say absolutely. See what happens. Say absolutely one more goddamn time. See what happens to you. Say it, man. Go ahead. That's what I thought. I finally stopped saying it. But there were a couple places that I missed, and as I was reading it, I just kind of left them in there because they were just spaced out enough that as I was reading, I was more focused on getting the reading right than what words I was saying. Plus, I was having to kind of act it out of it because I didn't want it to be a boring audiobook. But that's on YouTube also if you want. It's in 5 parts. And I've even told everybody like if you just want to get the basics of the story, you can actually just listen to parts 1 and part 5, and that's about 3 hours as opposed to it'll be a short story as opposed to reading parts 1 or listening to parts 1 through 5, which is about 10 hours. But I think after listening to parts 1 and 5, um, the reason why I don't like to read, and I figured if anyone's gonna make cliff notes about my book, it's gonna be me, man. I'm gonna make cliff notes about my book. I picture it kind of like a 5 panel map that you pull open, and you can put 1 and 5 together, and it makes a picture. And you know what I mean? It goes together, and then you got 1 and 5, and then but you don't see the 3 panels inside, and you can get from A to point B, and that's fine. And if you want more entertainment, open it up, and there's parts 2, 3, and 4. Not they're by no means necessary to the story, aside from developing how much you do or don't like the main character, because he's kind of a scoundrel. He's kind of an asshole, and that was great to play. That was good to act that character. I've got a costume. Um, I got the whole like the chest plate, and then I got a hood, like a travel cloak hood. I've got like some chest plate armor. I already had some clothes for underneath that looked really cool, and then I have some gloves like this. Only like they're leather and they comes like here, and I mean the story's called The Robber and the Thief. It's kind of a Dungeons and Dragons type thing. Oh, I've got a shield. Um, I've got to get the sword. There's a sword. I'm probably gonna get the backpack. His backpack plays a big part in the story because I mean it's just like another part of his body. He knows the weight of the backpack. What do you call it instead of backpack a back sack because I didn't want to be too whatever. It's supposed to be on a different planet and stuff. So it's a planet called Unia. I needed somewhere to base the story that it would be kind of human-esque and Earth-esque, but it wouldn't bump up with any history, like actual history, where people are like, well, that didn't actually happen. You know, like, piss off. I've got a story to tell. You know, there is no Ace Ventura, so why are you hassling me? I don't know why people like to hassle me, but they don't hassle other people. It's the weirdest thing in the world, man. Like I was getting some, I wouldn't say getting shit, but like some of the names aren't 100% original. But oh, I'm learning a little bit of Spanish. I'm learning a bit of Russian. Am I gonna do anything? Time zone is 4:34 right now. What What do you mean? Am I gonna do anything? I'm sorry. I just saw that pop up. I don't know what that means. As far as like with my music or my book or anything like that, or I both are. My old music is free, and my current book is free. 9:34 in your time zone, so you're 5 hours ahead. Where are you? No, that England would be like 14, I think, unless you're back. Is it 9:30 in the morning? Because that would be 8 hours back east from here. I'm Eastern, west from here. Night a.m. Where are you located? I mean, you don't have to give me like a address, just like I'm in Michigan, in the states. Hey, night a.m., night p.m. It just depends on how long you've been up. England. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Um, what's it like there right now? What's the weather like? I mean, it's cold here. We got snow on the ground and stuff. Or would you rather just sit back and chill and listen to me ramble about crazy crap again? Because I mean, I will talk forever. I don't have like a whole lot of friends or anything like that. Night times are freezing. Yeah, it gets really cold, but there's snow everywhere here. It usually starts snowing about like October, but for some reason it didn't really snow this year as bad as it usually does. Um, Actually, since like 2008, it was really, really, really bad. Like I mean, the snow was deep, probably about hip high. But and then when the snowplows would come and push stuff out of the way, really, you never get snow. You get rain though, right? Or is that just certain parts of England? I know there's always that talk about how like the rain in London and the fog in London. If people are gonna be here, I was just rambling about stuff. Let's see if I can get some more light in here. Did I just miss a message? I think I missed a message. I don't know how to get to those. I am stupid when it comes to this stuff. Being honest, I'm really I've down at the bottom of my I'm on my tablet and the bottom I've got like a little thing that's little I can't even see what I'm broadcasting really aside from like a little small section. So but yeah, it's cool that everybody's tuned in. That's tuned in. It's good to see you guys and meet you if you haven't met me before. Um, but I've been just working on music. Like I said, I'm about 48. I'm going to be 49 next year. I just turned 48 in September, and so I've been playing music for somewhere around 35 years, and I got actually signed somewhere around 20, right around COVID, so right around 2019. So, and then with COVID being put everything on lockdown, I decided to start writing my book just because I had nothing else to do, really, just sitting around. Don't have hardly any friends. My ex fiance was like my only friend, and she's not here anymore. Uh, hey, shit happens. Um, but what can you do? No, like I said, I've just been working on trying to get be get better in all ways possible that I can do, um, that I have any control of. Take care of myself and my health and stuff like that. Um, I broke some teeth. Like this tooth right here was very crooked and sitting like I don't know if you can see how that one is right there. But you can imagine that just like cranked even more out like that and just twisted. It was in this slot right here, and it broke just before COVID, and I didn't want to go sit in a chair with my mouth wide open. I mean, no one knew what I mean. No, I never heard of the term COVID. Yeah, I mean, remember when it was back and new, and I was just like, I'm just not going out there. At the time, my fiance had autoimmune or disorders anyway, so nothing bad, but she couldn't. I mean, she if she got around sickness, like I mean, if someone sneezed like a couple aisles over, she'd get sick. So I was just avoiding all that stuff, and no, but it's cool because I've never had a really nice smile because my teeth have always been jacked up. I had braces for a bit, but they didn't really do a ton, and then I got that pulled, and when that was pulled, they went ahead and they saw another one that needed to be pulled, and I mean, well, the root got pulled, and I had enough money on my insurance to go ahead and get a one of these guys here. I love it. Um, I haven't smiled this much since I mean a long time because my teeth have always been bad, but they actually have a decent smile now, and so I mean I've been laughing a whole lot and just I don't know. The world's gone so insane that the more crazy it gets, the more insane I get, and the more my laugh starts taking on the sound looking like the Joker. It's pretty nuts, and the more obscure stuff I find humorous. You know, it's just because you just it's this can't even be reality. It's so bad. It's so bad. This has got to be like a joint bad nightmare. And I've shared a dream with people before. I've experienced like a dream at you know what I mean, like, which is really fucking crazy because there's this girl I was dating in high school, and we always for some reason we before we started dating we were just hanging out and stuff and we'd run into each other, but we always had like the same kind of shirt on. There's just like a long sleeve shirt with this button up down the center, and it's like we had the same, and if we didn't wear the exact same color, yeah, I mean it's kind of matching. We're trying to become like kind of like the gross couple. You know what I mean? That wears this matching shirts and stuff. I didn't date very long, but I remember I went to it was the day after we broke up. I went to school. I had a dream the night like after we broke up. I had a dream about her, and it was a cool dream. And I'm like, okay, that's whatever. And I went to school the next day, not even thinking nothing about it. And I think the first thing she runs up to me and she goes, "What did you dream last night?" And I'm like, "No fucking way." And she's like, "Oh shit, that was real." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, that's nuts." No, but she'd forgotten about that. I ran into her. God, since getting divorced, she'd sent a friend request, but I was engaged, so I was like, no, ex girlfriend, no, I wouldn't like my wife doing that, my ex fiance doing that. So I didn't. But like after I was like, hey, I wasn't being a dick. I was engaged and I was respecting the relationship. Hope you don't, whatever. If you don't want to respond back, that's fine. And she's like, oh hey, what's up? That day I was wearing the same fucking when she wrote back, I was wearing that same kind of shirt. I'm like, you're not gonna believe this, but I'm wearing this shirt. And she's like, no way. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I want a picture. I'm like, I've already took one because I knew you'd want one. I already knew. I'm sending it right now. And then I was like, hey, you remember like the dream? And she's like, oh shit, that was real. Yeah, like, still can't believe it. But yeah, that's nuts. But I would believe that over seriously. What's going on with the world? Seriously, does anybody know? I've got no clue. I'm trying to figure this out, and all I can do to keep from losing my freaking mind is just laugh and make jokes about how screwed the whole thing is. This isn't right. This isn't right, man. There's nothing right about what's currently going on in the world. There's just nothing right about it. It's like knowing is you're watching the nuclear bomb countdown and you're like a minute run. It's got like a big ass clock. You know what I mean? On the wall, and there's just a red button. And you just gotta go over there and hit it. But it's a minute run, and you got like 30 seconds. Do you even bother? Do you even bother? Do you just go like, oh, oh, 30 more seconds. Give me. If you would have gave me 20 more seconds, I would give it a boost. I would have gave it a run. But instead, I think I'm just gonna sit right here and wait for it all to come down. Man, it's nuts. But it's so. I mean, we're infecting other. The United States is infecting other countries because there's a guy in Canada that was he was in court on some charges, and he was basically he was excoriating the judge about how his Second Amendment rights are being taken away from him. And the judge is like, "You're right for Manitoba to be a, a fucking Providence, sir. I think you've been watching too much American television." Your Second Amendment rights? What? In Canada, the Second Amendment makes Manitoba a province, I believe, or it's one of those ones. It's not even anything having to do with guns. What are you doing, man? Did you see him like really like getting his shit together, like his files and whatever? And he's sitting there like, oh, I'm gonna blow this judge out the fucking water. He is not gonna know what hit him when I'm done. And that, Your Honor, is why I rest. You might as well plug the fifth, asshole. Which, by the way, up here is the right to eat sandwiches on Friday. I don't know. They're nice people. I don't know what they do. I don't know what their fifth is. But I really is like the right to not incriminate yourself. And only America needs that right. You have the right to remain, to shut the fuck up, to not say nothing. If it helps you get away with it, just be quiet. Just don't. Oh, by the way, they can't make your spouse testify. So you guys go ahead and start proving that gay marriage. Because you and your buddy are gonna need it. He's the one that helped you move the body, yeah. And now you guys are filing for a marriage license, yeah. Isn't that interesting? I don't have any sense, man. I don't know. My life feels like a goddamn television show sometimes. It has since I mean, okay, you want to know how creepy my life has been as far as whatever? My life is so creepy that the first time I started thinking, it's like there's everybody watching me. I was working at Video Watch in Ann Arbor, well, Ypsilanti, Michigan. It feels like there's like a show or something like that, you know. So it's just like, and then the Truman Show movie came out about 4 months later, and I'm like, are you guys really watching? Where do you put the cameras? That's what I don't know. Because in the '90s, like, where would you put the cameras? But I've thought about it since then in my like psychosis type mind, which isn't it's just making jokes and having fun and whatever. It's like it helped me actually write a story. Um, what it is that in the story that I have, we go through a bad phase, kind of like we're going through now. Like really, the humanity goes through a really bad phase, and in order to kind of get over it, they make a kind of consensus and whatever with AI that since they're making leaps and strides in technology anyway, that they're just going to tell the kids that are coming up that it's about 30 years, pardon me, after the time it is. And history will just skip over that part. You know what I mean? They'll just be like, "Oh, there was a time of unrest and whatever," and that's what they talk about the like the Great Unrest instead of the Great Depression. And it's like this 30-year period where they're trying to get their stuff together, and it's very clouded in mystery and blah 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 blah. And it's just there's just because everything was down and everything was just so screwed up. Turns out it's not really 30 years in the future at all. It's just AI has been making massive advancements in technology, and they knew that people would resist, so they embedded. There's Internet 2.0 comes out. So they embedded Internet 1.0 as a file backup in the satellite system, knowing that someone was going to hack the satellite and find it. And when they find it, they realize that basically, as long as you have, when did they start making it's like 2015 they started making those wireless charging things, and so there's hackers that start hacking those to broadcast power, and so therefore the batteries are dead and you can't whatever because it's 2015 and this has been at least again this it's actually going to be like in about 2030, but they're going to tell people it's 2060. Um, so if you have like a router from 2015, a tablet or a phone or anything like that from 2015 to about 2020, you would be you'd be fine. And they make it where it's like they the energy mats broadcast those. The Wi-Fi routers are all making this one network within itself that connects to the satellite. They think it's undetected, but eventually, well, I guess I shouldn't tell the whole thing, should I? But I mean, I pretty much have. Minus like some of the finer points I haven't told, but that's the kind of stuff I think of when I'm just sitting out here, just thinking of ideas. So if you get a chance, check out the Robber and the Thief. I like it. I've got another short story called The Survival Guide. I think that's on like my Facebook. Yeah, it's on my Facebook page for Unia. Um, you can also get a PDF for the Robber and the Thief, the map that the video follows along. Um, yeah, I've got several stories that I'm working on. Some not all of them are based in Unia. I mean, I know there's a lot of like one trick ponies and stuff. I'm working on a story about it's kind of like a modern day, a bit more, a less of the funny part and more of the. It's got funny, but I mean, it's kind of like a modern day Cheech and Chong thing, um, called One Last Run, and it's these guys in the '90s because I actually in the '90s I used to get free mushrooms in Louisiana, and then when I moved up here, Michigan in the '90s before I moved back down south, trying to get mushrooms, we would pick them for free from the pasture. But up here, they were like $30 an eighth, and I was like, dude, that would be like complete profit, even if I did like fucking $30 a half. I mean, we go out and pick like pounds at a time. We would get them for free, and then all I have to do is like dehydrate them before heading up here. Go down and visit my family, make like a little care package and stuff, and like stuff on top of it, like coffee and cookies and things like that, and shit, and blankets. Come back up to like 4 and 5 pounds, sell that shit off, and just make nothing but fucking bank, and or get a food dehydrator, dehydrator. I don't know why I say it that way. Dehydrator, and just ship care packages back and forth every few months or so. It'd be grotesque how much money. But so the story is that I never did it, but the story is that these guys actually did it in the '90s and they gave up on it, and they're kind of burnouts, whatever. You know what I mean? They're older, but still just kind of like roommates because they just never grew up kind of guys. Still have the black light posters on the wall and stuff, and they need some cash. So they decided to make one last run. And all the hijinks that ensue. They go back down south to find the pastures where they used to run, and then get there when they used to get their harvest their stuff. Are now run by these young kids, like about the age that they were when, and they call themselves the Children of the Corn with the like K, with the corn like the band. It's like, who the fuck are you guys? The Children of the Corn. They all raised their arm and it's like COTK. In the back, like, oh, yeah, yeah, Children of the Corn. Okay, so which one of you is Malachi? Yeah. So that one's gonna be a good one. Oh my god, I've got so many stories. It's crazy. That's why like, I'm doing these is because like I've just got so many freaking ideas like all the time that I don't know. I talk this much and it still just never stops. I've got on my tab on this tablet. Yeah, I could probably pull it up and find out. But I mean, like on this tablet alone, I have a crap ton of poetry. I've got stories for ideas for stories. I have one that's just an idea for a series called Who, What, When, Where, Why, and How, and it's like a Twilight Zone type thing, and it's like all these messed up like scenarios, like what would you do type things. Like one of them is this wife gets her husband he's a avid fisher, and so she gets him like a filleting knife, and for his birthday, and she wants to go out fishing. He wants to do some nighttime fishing. He likes to go nighttime fishing, and she wants to go with him. And so he's like, all right, she's like, I'll be down there in a second. So she goes down there to the case for the knife has been the packaging's been opened. The knife's gone, and the guy's gone. And so at first they think that they don't know what happened, and the police or whatever are checking things out, and eventually they find they find him pretty badly cut up, and of course she becomes the main suspect. But yeah, she's not the one who did it at all. Like that's some yeah. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. It's actually just www.www.h. The name of the show. www. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Have you seen the latest episode of? Oh my god, I'm stupid. Hey, I'm not blind, man. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Me and my friend Opie back in any fans of Huddy Ledbetter out there? Uh, so my dude Opie, he was he was the drummer for my second band. The first band that actually started doing anything. We did some good stuff in Shreveport. But anyways, um, his dad his dad was always looking for Huddy Ledbetter's grave because Huddy Ledbetter is from Shreveport, Louisiana, and he died in Shreveport, Louisiana, and he's known as the king of the 12-string blues and blah, blah, blah. And so his headstone had been lost. Now, Opie didn't live too far away from me, but his dad really liked Huddy Ledbetter, so he would go out on these nighttime when he get off work from like the glass. He worked at a Libby Glass. He'd get off the duty. He would go and just drive. He'd get stoned and he'd do other things. I don't want to but he'd do all kinds of stuff and go for drives through and look for the graveyards trying to find Huddy's grave, and just time after time, just unsuccessful. Eventually, they need to move from that trailer they're in there to a house that was way further out towards the Texas state line. We were okay. If you imagine Shreveport, the shape of that little boot thing, Shreveport's in the upper left corner, and then Blanchard is a little hick town, like even further up in the north or northwest from that. So I mean, it's just a little shit town. And then the state border is not far from there. It's about an hour and a half drive, if even that long. So they moved like about 30 minutes from the state line. So my dude's way the hell away, and this is like my brother, man. I mean, we're tight as hell, and so he stayed the night at my place. I stayed the night. Anyways, they're not in that new house a week, and the church that's not even a block down the street has a revival because they found Huddy Ledbetter's headstone in the right down. I mean, like next door to there's just woods between his house and the church. There's just woods for about a block, if even that long. And there's the church, and the church has a graveyard behind it. So they found the headstone. Guy got rid of it and put in like a really nice one. Fence it in with. You can go look online, and if you look up Huddy Ledbetter's grave, It's got a guitar 12 string on it. It says Honey Ledbetter, like King of the 12 string, or like, you know, Masters, something like that. I believe it's a black marble. I can't remember really exactly. One of the reasons I can't remember exactly is because me and Opie used to go down there all the time and smoke. God, man, we would go down there and smoke like all the time, and other stuff, man. You know, other, but we just sit around Huddy's grave. You know what I mean, and just talk to him, talk about the universe. I remember he had these Sherlock Holmes pipes. They were in the house when they moved into that house out in the country, and they were like these really ornate, nice wooden pipes, but mud daubers, dirt daubers had moved into the bowls of almost all of them. So he had to go in and like file it out, you know, with a sandpaper and stuff, and really, really clean it out. And so it's all filed out and cleaned out, and then um, he decided to stain because he sanded the outside of the wood, so he stained the outside of the wood, and it's got like the stem and everything. And then we're smoking, and I mean, we've been using these for a while because they're just so pimped out, man. They look so cool. You know, we're just like, tell me, Watson. Would you care for another puff of marijuana? Yeah, so we're just being stupid out there, and you know, again, I mean, having a bit of style always was our thing. So we had a little bit of flair class with our drugs. We kept our gutter nice and clean. That's what I'll say. We kept our gutter nice and clean, but we definitely lived in the gutter. uh, but the bowl, I'm noticing like the third or fourth time after you hit it, it's just like crackling like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Now, like I said, mind you, we've been smoking on this thing weeks, if not more. And and he goes, "Yeah, man, it's been doing that since I cleaned him out and stained him." And we're sitting there passing back and forth. I'm like, "Huh, that's it wasn't doing it before." He's like, "No," and I'm like, "It's just crackling and crackling, crackling." Did you stain the inside of the bowl? No. It's too late now if you did. I stained the inside of the bowl. Ah, it's been a month now. I might be like, oh, you've killed me. I'm dead now. Hope you're happy. Maybe the first time I'd be like, "What's gonna happen? We gotta call poison control." Like, I mean, it's we use these things so frequently. The reason I brought that up is because we'd go like if we weren't hanging out at Huddy Ledbetter's grave, which would be at nighttime, we'd hang out at his house, and so he had this back room with a washroom, and we'd go in there and smoke. And he had this little dog named Sister Mary Margaret, and he had another dog named Little Sister. Both of them loved to get stoned, but if we closed the door, they would just scratch and scratch and scratch at the door to let it in, and just sit there and just. And that dog would just. Both of those dogs would just sit there and just and come out. And then, I mean, we thought we were being slick, but Opie's mom must have always known because, like, after about like 30, 45 minutes, she's like, "Oh, I made some grilled cheese. I made some homemade pizza. I made French fries." I mean, she always had like some munchy stuff, and we're just like, "Oh, you fucking roll. You fucking roll." Pizza? Oh, yeah. Homemade pizza? Dude, this is badass. And, but no, we would watch, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and or Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. And so when we between those two, we had so many like quote. I mean, we watched them pretty much every day, and so we'd be out and about, and just out of nowhere, one of us, springtime, the only pretty springtime, birds sing, ring a ding, sweet love, hey love. Or how about this part when in Cheech and Chong with that guy, the dad is yelling at Chong, "We're not gonna have a family brawl." You want to get a whole restaurant's attention? Just scream that at the top of your lungs while staring at your best friend. Like, watch this shit. We're not gonna have a family brawl. Everybody just. The other one's like, springtime, the only pretty ring time. Everybody's looking at us confused. I'm like, don't hate us, because we're the only two people that are alive in this fucking place, man. This whole establishment, the rest of you fuckers are dead. You're dead inside. Live a little, man. Live a little. I won't say we only go around this world once, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's reincarnation. Maybe there's maybe there's life after this life. I don't know. And I mean, nobody knows. I mean, I'm sure there's people that do know, but they ain't telling because no one's coming back. You know, no one's coming back and be like, "You ain't gonna believe this shit. I was dead for 3 weeks, and it ain't good. It's awesome. Why are you back here? I just had to tell you." Okay, I'm gonna go die again. Um, so yeah, no, I don't know about anybody else. I believe in God, and if you think about it, it makes the most sense out of like pretty much all the theories and stuff out there. Not religion. Okay, let's get clear. Not religion. Almost all the religions that claim to teach and preach from the Bible, if you read the Bible, they actually don't. They actually don't. Um, it's not their fault. They get kind of thrown off. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like if you know some churches, some of the preachers gotta talk like this. You know what I mean? It's because they heard some other person do that, and so they try to infuse that same kind of energy into their speech. There's no reason to actually do that. It doesn't actually, call the voice of God into you or anything like that. Wouldn't it be annoying for the rest of the fucking heaven though? If like, there is a heaven, we all get to go, but God the whole time is like, "Yes, come with me. I'm gonna show you the fountains of life. Oh, it's gonna be great. Oh." And the church is always, "Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Yes." Can we talk to Jesus? He's just like me. I don't know what's wrong with me sometimes. Like father, like son. Oh, like father, like son. In the name of speaking tongues. Those preachers piss me the fuck off. Like, dude, you don't get to speak baby talk and say you're speaking in tongues. Ah, shalabakabalabon, my samana hair. I isn't speaking in tongues, it's just making fucking noises. French is a tongue. Germanic is a tongue. Italian. We've already got tongues. You don't have to fucking make one up. You just gotta make goddamn sense. You just gotta make sense. Is Sean speaking Spanish? Yeah. He's stupid. He did not do well in Spanish in school. Why is he speaking it like fluently? You've been doing it for the last 30 minutes. I don't think I can make out. It's something about good. And then he keeps talking about God. Other than that, I don't really make it out what he's saying. He is speaking Spanish, though. Something about an apple. I don't know. So, scientists believe that the universe is everything. I happen to wonder if there's an outside shell to our universe. Are we just inside of a stone somewhere? Are all stones like this inside until you crack them open? Slowly wearing away on the outside until it becomes just a pebble. You know what I mean? It's just got a husky shell on the outside and the universe gets small. But if we were, I mean, think of the size of our solar system inside the Milky Way, inside the known universe. If the walls of the universe just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, would we really even notice outside of, like, Pluto's orbit? No. Would we care? No. It wouldn't change anything for our lives. It really wouldn't. Even if they discover, like, the universe is shrinking. Like, okay, at what rate? We're not really sure, but it is definitely getting small. Okay, well, when it gets past Pluto, let us know. Oh, it's nowhere near Pluto. Where's it at? Oh, it isn't even near, like, Andromeda system or Globnar 7. It's got at least 40 hectorectal light years until it gets yes, hectorectal light years until it gets to even Andromeda. Man, you're talking about my great 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 grandkids. Shut the fuck up. I got school in 30 minutes. Why are things important? What makes it something important? Because some things are important even if they're not important to you. But some things are important only because they're important to you. So what makes something important? The criticalness of which needs to be done, I guess. Like bridges needing to be fixed. That's important, whether you think about it or not. Whether you realize the bridge that you're crossing should have been fixed 4 years ago. You don't even think about it, but it's important. Meanwhile, your haircut, not important at all. But if they fuck it up, oh, it is all important to you. You go on the Yelp and you leave like a bad review. You're always trying to find a hat to wear, you know? Oh, I've already gone bald. The thing that sucks, okay, in the 90s, this is the only thing I didn't shave, okay? Now, ironically, it's the only thing that won't grow. I would kill for this to no longer grow and this to just be keep on doing its thing. Dude, I think I look good with long hair. I think it looks pretty good. But alas, it shall never be again. Ah. You ever seen the episode of Steinfeld where there's that swimmer guy and he's happy shaving his head until Elaine convinces him to grow his hair out? And he's just all, he's all confident and, whatever. And until he realizes he can't grow it back. It's gone. He's no longer shaving because he wants to. He's shaving because he has to. Nearly wept in that episode. It was funny, but that's not why I nearly cried. I miss that goddamn hair, if I'm being honest. Oh, that's not right. Why do some people get to keep? Some people get to keep it. Like, well, I mean, it's like supposedly if you make it to your 30s with your hair, you're gonna have it. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. But dude, mine's just started right back here. This spot right here that's going bald. That started going bald. Oh, 23, if even that old. I know in 2000 my daughter was born, and this just said bye bye. It's supposed to say bye, Menon. But it got sad, and they just stopped singing "Bye Menon" and started singing "Bye Bye." Not even like bye 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 or like a cool kind of like we're sorry to leave you. We have to go. We used to be on top of your head. Now we're laying all on the floor. So, what's new? I really, there was someone that's talking about like, okay, they should really stop remaking movies that are popular, right? And that did well. I understand the appeal to take a popular movie that did well and um, modernize it. But the better thing would be to take a movie that had potential, because they're all the time. They're moving movies from uh, the shelf of failure to the walls of Netflix. And once it's free, box office flop becomes a huge success. Either people like the actor, people like the problem is when it's in the theater, it's used to competing up against three, maybe four other movies, and that's real world stuff. That's real world money. That's like $5 to $7 per ticket. Especially back in the day and stuff. And there was no streaming. There was none of that stuff. So I mean, if you had cable, but so I mean, you really kind of had to plan on what you wanted to watch. Often people would to let someone that they trust go who had more money go to see the movies, and based on word of mouth, would decide whether or not they wanted to go. Um, but now things are changing where you can have an entire catalog of Paramount, all of Paramount's movies, all of ABC movies, all of CBS, all of Disney. Everything is all under these little umbrella companies, and these different apps. It needs to really get to be where there's like two or three providers, and they have little hubs where they can sell like Disney Plus, and so you can get whatever. That's the main thing that the people got to learn is that, and I try to do that with my guitar company, is that money all at once is not as big of a deal. I was getting my guitars made out of China, um, so these were like $550 guitars by American standards. I've had a shredder, guy just shred away. Come over and try one of my guitars. I mean, I'm intermediate at best, so I wanted an actual guy who knows how to shred to come over and try my guitar out and see what he thought about it. And I was like, "How much do you think it's worth?" After you got finished playing it, and he's like, "I don't want to be offensive." I'm like, "Just lay it out. What is it worth?" He's like, "I'd probably pay like 500, 550 for it." I'm like, "Awesome." He's like, "Why?" Well, I was like, "I could sell you that for 250 and make a profit." And his eyes were like, "What the fuck, dude?" He's like, "Will you sell it to me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll sell it to you." I'm like, "It's not for sale right now, but I'll sell. I mean, if I were to ever sell it to anybody, I'll sell it to you if you want it. I do want it because it's a Stratocaster shaped body, and I do want to get a. All my other guitars are like I designed the body for my Nephilim, for my for my I designed the bodies. I didn't know they could do that. Once I found that it could do that, that's what I started doing. And the first one I tried from this company, I wanted to make sure they had good quality, and it was a Stratocaster style guitar with my headstock that I designed and my custom specs. And man, that thing was awesome. Oh, it's so good. I love that guitar so much. It's so good. So I was like, let's see if they can do a custom job. And I had my Concord design. It's my white guitar. And oh my god, that guitar sounds so good. It's amazing. And then I had a Concorde, another Concorde built that was arch top, had different inlays, a different color. It was a black, I think I had a white one and a black one. The body was a little bit off because it was such a new guitar style that they had never seen it, and they put on the neck about like one or two, at most like 5 degrees off straight axis. Like if the body is supposed to be like here, it was more like that. So if you were straight, it's like the way the body. It's not bad. I mean, it plays and handles wonderfully, and it still looks cool. But it was just it's enough that like again, if I hadn't said anything about it, no one would probably even know. But I wanted to get one that was exactly done correctly, and this one that got done correctly with the design of the body because I gave more information, but I undershot the width of the body because I did transfer from centimeters. I mean from inches to centimeters because they needed metric, and I don't know how I messed it up, but it's about an inch too short all the way around it. And it's still, again, it's still beautiful. Still plays really good. It's got P90 pickups in it instead of the humbuckers. Um, so it's got more of a vintage tone rather than that Les Paul kind of sound. But shit, let me get some light in here. All right. So, anyways, just a rambling, just a rambling. So I could get that. I could get that. I got a couple more guitars I'm gonna get from them. I got a hollow body I'm gonna get, and I've got I don't know. I'll get as many as I can afford. But yeah, I prefer the actual custom whole thing, custom body, wood, pickup configuration, all that stuff, as opposed to taking the Les Paul and just changing a few things. Um, that's just me. But yeah, no, since I've been back doing music with Troth, I'm so glad Mike Nova reached out again, dude. I had lost track of him for a couple years. This is really cool, man. Troth, our band that we did five, it was before COVID, 6 maybe 7 years ago. Um, Might have been longer than that. I'd have to check and see. But it was quite some time. We lost track. I lost track of him. He's in Canada. I'm here in Michigan. And dude is insane. He's so fucking talented as far as writing like parts that make. I mean, like the song is. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a pretty good song. It's not really all that great. And then he puts these parts down. I'm just like, holy fuck, that is good, dude. That is just so good. Like especially on Believe, there's like this just shit I would never think of. That's just dude knows what he's doing. He understands music on a very fucking high level. It's just like it's an honor to work with the dude. But all that stuff that we did, it's getting is climbing. I put up on Reverb Nation back when we did it back in the day. There's like good 8 songs. They're free. You can go check it out. I think it's Troth the band or Troth Five. I don't remember which one it is, but there's Troth. You'll see it's got like a sun for an O, like a weird kind of tribal sun. Um, but since I lost track of him, I really didn't do much promotion for that band. The song that got me signed was actually one that he did the solo on. That one's called "The Suffering," and that shit, the solo, he killed that shit on that solo. But so that band, that's the music we put up. There's some videos and stuff also on YouTube on here. Actually, on CheapGearGuy, there should be some videos. Um, Into Deep, Believe, Come See the Pity, anything that says with Mike Nova. That's Troth stuff. Um, So yeah, no promotion. I haven't been promoting it, and it's been climbing the charts. We're like number one in. I'm out here in Kingsley. We're number one in Traverse City. We're number one between Traverse City and Cadillac, the nearest big city. We're like 519 in the in alternative, not in the whatever. It's not Billboard. It's Reverb Nation or whatever it is. It's not like official charts. It's just it is. I mean, but it is cool that we are the number one between there. I know a lot of people use Reverb Nation, and we're number one. Um, we're number 519, I think, in the United States, and like nine something in the world. No promotion. That's not bad. I mean, that means that's just word of mouth. And even better is that since we've been hanging out, we decided to start building everything we were. Just like he'd send me a track, and I'd sing on it, and I'd send him a track, and he'd play guitar on it. But they were basically done songs, and I didn't like. I wanted to do from from the ground up back even then. Um, but I mean, he had a bunch of songs that he needed to finish, and I had a bunch of songs that I needed to finish, and so it worked out. But now, when we got, he's like, I don't want to do it that way anymore. I want to do it from the ground up. I'm like, fuck yeah. So now we're just like, working on Jam Kazam in real time, trading ideas and stuff. Just jamming, talking bullshit. You know what I mean? Just chatting about shit and noodling around the guitar. Hey, that was a good riff. What the fuck was that? Oh, that yeah. And next thing you know, we're fucking got a song. Oh no, something like this. Yeah, I was like that, and then he'll throw his tweaks on it. I'll throw my tweaks on it. We need to go to big chorus. I'm gonna do this, and then we get like a rough skeleton. I'll send him that rough skeleton once I've sketched it out in my studio, playing all the instruments and stuff. He makes his changes because he plays guitar, bass, and drums also. So he'll like, what about this, and send it back to me. I'm like, okay, I see where you're going. I adjust a few things on my end. Next thing you know, we've got like the full structure of the song, and I really want. I mean, there's one song we got. It's called "If At All." It's done. There's another song we're doing right now called "Dead Eye Dream," and it's closing in. It's closing in on it. Um, I think the actual skeleton for it is done now. We just have to flesh out the bones and the meat of the song. And that one's gonna be really fucking cool. Um, I my voice I've been able to hit like high clean. I never really liked it because it just doesn't sound. It doesn't have that grit, kind of like the way Lane Staley does when he gets those. I mean, I never had that, and when I tried to do it, it hurt my throat. Um, but here recently, I guess I sang too hard one too many times. I've like blown out the top range register of my voice, so now I've got this really nice roar. Fucking loving it, man. It's fucking dope. And I didn't know how Phil Anselmo got those 5 minutes alone. I never knew how he did that. What I figured out how he did it is because he probably did the same thing. He blew out those notes from the Cemetery Gates days, and so all he does is just use the same power to push as if he had those notes, and it just fucking just rips and tears that. You know what I mean? It's it's just like basically climbing out of his fucking vocal cords. It's trying to hit those notes and can't, but you still just keep pushing until it just like I said, it's cracking and just yeah. It's cool, man. It's really cool. I really love music and like in a way that I just really can't explain, man. My first time playing, my brother had a harmony guitar. It's like a Stratocaster, and he left to go. He was going to go do something, and he always threatened to kick my ass if I ever touched his shit. And so, but I was sitting in my bed. And I was just watching him. He was playing like every rose is thorn, and he went not he didn't key, just G C D. And so he like left again with the usual threat to kick my ass if I touch his shit. And so he leaves. And after I'm sure he's gone, I pick up the guitar and fire up the amp. He just got this new crate guitar amp. And so I'm like, put my fingers where I saw him put his fingers. And like the first time I ever played guitar at all, I just went, But it has like delay and chorus and the distortion, just like, oh, I'm slowly working my fingers. Okay, he had this one like that right there, and of course in tune. Anyways, so yeah, that was like my beginning of like being in love. After that, I just became obsessed, and like every time he left, I picked his fucking guitar up and started playing, and which wasn't enough for me. Eventually, my friend Travis gave me basically this guitar, which, as you can see, is a classical guitar. Yes, yes. It's not a nice one. It's not a great one. I think I paid $15 for it at a secondhand place. It's not supposed to be the greatest. It's just supposed to sound good, and it does. It sounds good enough. So I recently had to change the tuning keys. I don't know if you can see the gold tuning keys there, but it had some old ones that came on it, and this one just wouldn't tune to. It would tune about like a half a step. I mean, a step to 2 steps down. It would never tune up, so I had to tune the guitar down like about a step in order to get to play it all. Eventually, I bought those. They're $15, and they work fucking great. And if they so, anyways, yeah. What he had done is he put acoustic strings on this and then tightened it up so bad that it just broke the neck. So rather than just give up on it, my dude just takes a nail and just drives it in right here, and he doesn't even like really drive it in. He drives it in so it goes flat, and then just kind of just it bends I mean, it's not even. It's like one of those stiff point. I mean, one of the straight one. It doesn't even have like the head on it. So you could, if you drove it in far enough, it would just been like fairly flush. No, he just kind of bends it so it's like he knocks it so it's terrible. It hurts like hell to play this fucking guitar, and it's got like these big, huge strings. At the time, I didn't know anything about anything, you know, but he's got like these enormous strings on there. Now looking back, I'm like, how could it not break? I mean, this is a classical. Why would you put freaking acoustic strings on the classical? It's supposed to be side of the. It's supposed to be nylon. Anyways, so yeah, this notwithstanding, I mean, of course, I mean, I'm not really honestly trying, but I've always wanted to see if I could like just be funny at will and go to like an open mic night for comedy and just literally just stand up and just go up there and just start talking and see what I could pull off. Just start telling stories about stuff that never really happened. I can do improv pretty good. Um, you know, and I mean, I'm not gonna do anything right now, but I mean, things are already swimming in my head. Like I said, I come up with stories all the time, and so, and when I get stuck, it just comes. You just there are funny ways out of pretty much any situation. So I just want to see if I could actually do it on command for like good 15, 20 minutes and get a good laugh. But I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe I could, maybe I couldn't. I could always try it here, and then whatever. But I think the pressure of being on stage and having people there to like actually laugh and listen, I think that would be. I'm one of those people that thrives really well under pressure. Like if I have time for a deadline, I just fuck off. I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care because I've been through it so many times that I know that it's when I've got one day, I've got 1 week on a project that should take about 2 weeks. I know I'm just gonna focus and start working, and I'm gonna get shit done. What should take about a month, I'll get knocked out in about 4 days. Just because once that have to sets in, that have to mentality. I need to get this done. It's like there's a deadline looming, and it's gonna be. That's when I'm like, and on top of that, what really helps out a lot is that if it's not good enough, it forces me to get creative. I have to make it work now. I don't have time. I don't have time to keep redoing this track. This vocal track. I don't have time to keep redoing this. The album releases in 7 days. Or I mean, if it's an album, I probably have to still mix and master. So I mean, by that stage, I'd be like, I have to master, and I've got 7 days. Either way, as long as I'm forced to do something. Like, okay, when I was about 7 years old, no, I was in Louisiana when I was 7. I turned 8 down there. So yeah, I was going 6, going on 7, something like that. I taught myself um, fractions, and mainly because I hated homework, and so the teacher said that a third of your grade is homework, a third of your grade is how you behave, and a third of your grade is tests. And I was like, okay, so if I behave well in class and ace the test, I don't have to do homework ever again because that'd be 2/3. And I even went through. I was like, I could do that and keep that going until graduation, and I have to have that little piece of paper so I can get a job, and that's all I really want. I don't want anything else they have to offer here. So let me go ahead and I enacted the plan from about 6th or 7th grade. I really did not do much, if any, homework at all. Um, I told my parents I did. I always had bad progress reports that had to go home and be signed by my parents. They never saw those. They never saw those because I knew again it's halfway through the semester and I know that I can bring it up. I know all I gotta do is just like ace the next 4 or 5 tests, like 100% ace them. Did I study? No. Did I ace them? Yes. How? I'm very good at guessing. I'm very good at predicting stuff. I'm very good at recognizing patterns. I don't know. I'm a weird person, and so yeah, people used to, because I would ace my test. People always ask me like, can they cheat off my test? And I'm like, you don't want to, and they're like, why? I'm like, because I haven't read. And they're like, okay, and so they wouldn't cheat off my test. And then I get 100, and they're like, I thought you said you didn't read. I'm like, I didn't. And like, well, how did you? I'm like, cause like especially if it was a test on like a classic book like the Scarlet Letter, or whatever, you know what I mean, Grapes of Wrath, whatever. From the name and from that and the cover, I usually could tell. That's why reading makes me bored. I could usually tell with a fair degree of certainty what the story was going to be just by the name, the play on words. You know what I mean? Because I like to play on words. I play with words and all that stuff. So I get like a time to remember. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, there's stuff like that. A time to forget. Yeah, whatever the fucking story may be called. With only one shoe, I can start to deduce what the fuck the thing is going to be about. Unless you're one of those people that's called. I'm one of those people that called my book with only one shoe, and it's got nothing to do with the shoe at all. But that's me because I'm kind of a weirdo. I have got tons of songs that don't have the names have nothing to do with the no. So if you try to go by like the chorus or whatever, like yeah, that's not going to help you. That one's called "Timeless as Time Undone." I really have a song called "Timeless as Time Undone." You think I ever say that in the song? Nope. Um, I don't know. Growing up, I felt kind of me myself. I mean, I read a lot of Shel Silverstein and stuff like that. So, um, as a kid, as a young child, I read a lot of Shel Silverstein because his poems always were funny, insightful. The drawings were always creepy with that stipple picturing that he would do, like that girl that ate the whale. Oh my god, that was so creepy. The general, oh, it was creepy yet beautiful, and I really, really dug his stuff. Then to find out later he wrote A Boy Named Sue is pretty good because even Stone Temple Pilots had to acknowledge that. Tripping as I'm thinking about a boy, his name was Sue. He's a man. He's a mad cracker man. Cracker man. He's a woman too. Like, dude, this is a poetry of love to my heart. What are you doing? All those guys, man. Cornell was good at it. Lanigan was good at it. Staley had some good singers, man. Some good singers and good lyricists. Even though sometimes it seemed like their stuff was about nothing, and it may have been, but it's like that nothing becomes a something to you, and that's all that really kind of matters, right? I mean, if you make some sense out of it, I know with my stuff, if you make sense out of my stuff that makes you happy and gives you some kind of ease of this world, while it's not what I meant at all. Have at it. I'm not gonna pop your balloon. I'm gonna be like, it's an interesting take, man. I never thought about it that way, but you're right. I mean, more than likely, you probably are right. Um, you know, so, but that's why I don't like to talk about what my stuff means because I mean, once you know the meaning, you can't unknow the meaning. Once you know the lyrics, you can't unknow that it doesn't say what you think it says, which means so much to you. When I was a kid, again, going back to a kid, you remember that song Sledgehammer? Um, Peter Gabriel. My vocabulary really didn't have 4-syllable words in it, so testimony wasn't in my vocabulary. My toes. So when I was little, for some reason, it's such a weird video, anyways. He said, "This will be my testimony. This will be my testimony." I I heard as a kid, "This will be my test. Come on in," because I was a little kid, and so all those words to match the syllable phrasing. But as you get older, like I said, without the internet, you have that same thing going on. There's just again, and of course, it changes the meaning. And once you look it up on lyrics.com, that's it. You know what they actually said, unless it's not what they actually said, and someone just transposed it a bit differently, transcribed it differently. Um, Happens because I mean, unless it's coming directly from the actual lyric sheet and or the author, then you don't really know for sure. And even then, sometimes my lyrics are a little bit different from what's actually on the lyric sheet because sometimes in last minute things need to change to fit. And when I've got a rhyme scheme going, it needs to fit the rhyme scheme when I'm writing. When I've got music going, it's got its own scheme, and so I might need to be like take "there are" out of there in order to fit and contract it down. Now it makes a little less sense, but it sounds a bit more funky, and it sounds actually a bit cooler. you take out the certainty of the definition, you know, of what you're saying, and that actually helps a little bit. I think one of my favorite lyrics that we've ever done is with my band Zygote. Um, we couldn't figure out like this. We needed one line, um, and I was like, I don't know what to put there. And my friend was sitting there smoking. My bandmate was smoking, and he goes, "There's no peace like repentance of what's mine and what's yours is yours." And I'm like, "Oh God, that's good." There's no peace like repentance of what's mine and what's yours is yours. Good stuff, man. But yeah, man. I wish I could like talk to people. I don't know if anyone's even. Oh yeah, someone's still watching. Cool. Um, it'd be cooler. I wish that there was like a pen pal thing. Oh, someone bailed out. So later. I wish there was like a pen pal system where you could actually talk to people um, live about stuff, you know, and just back and forth. I tried that chat roulette thing because I was hoping that by now maybe it's died off as a hotspot to show your penis. No. Then there's on top of that, like I don't have any problem talking with other dudes. I wasn't only going there looking for some chick to talk to. I mean, while I'd prefer to talk to a woman because I mean I'm a dude, so I'd prefer to talk to a woman. But um, it's just cool to talk to people sometimes and just learn new things and hear different people out and stuff. Learn different perspectives. But it pops up and there'd be like a guy on the other end. If they weren't like trying to show their meat, they'd be they see that guy pops up and click off, and I'm just like, okay, you know, like geez, I mean, it's about talking, making connection. It'd be cool to have that, but sorry if this isn't very entertaining or anything like that. I just felt like rambling for a little bit. I might do more of these. I'm gonna try and keep them shorter in the future, because it's going on an hour and 23 minutes. So, oh, someone's in. How are you doing? Um, but no, I'm probably gonna be doing a lot more of these in the future, and I'm hoping to keep them down to 10 minutes. The problem is I just talk way too fucking much, man. I'll admit it. I just talk way too much. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. I just the I was telling my mom that I'm here in my house by myself, and so if anyone, when you're by yourself, the rules kind of slack off, and so um, anyone outside my house would probably think I'm insane because I'm in here acting out full scenes from stories I'm writing. You know what I mean? A drug deal gone bad. You're trying to fuck me. I've got like a fake. I've got a BB gun, a BB pistol, and yeah. So I'll go through the whole scene, from the guy that's getting screwed over's point of view is about to shoot the guy, and then I'll go back over from the guy on the grounds. You know what I mean? It was like, and so like anyone who was walking by would hear like these screams, like no, no, you know what I mean, and think I'm insane. But like I said, you come back in 7 months when I've actually written it out, and suddenly it's like, oh, that's what you're doing. Like, yeah, dude. I mean, I'm crazy, but I'm not insane. I mean, I can act it out in my head, but it's so much more vivid, and I get more. Sometimes I have to go through it 3 times. No, that's not that. No, no. What if I use this? Yeah, this hand. That's more. You know what I mean? So he needs to come with the fucking left hand, so that way you can fucking punch him in the face first and then shoot him. You know what I mean? Because this guy's supposed to be like a real piece of shit. You know what I mean? Well, I guess you could bash him, and yeah, I mean, and so like, even that stuff, I guess you could bash him in the face and then shoot him and then shoot him in the chest and be like, Jesus Christ, it's a story. No one gives like Michael Bay any crap when you fuck, you know what I mean? No one gives anybody, but for some reason, if I start talking about stuff like that for a story, like a chase scene that ends in like a huge tragedy, dear God, the thing that really bothers me is how many people throughout time and history have revered William Shakespeare, whether it's one person, whether it's a bunch of people, that's for debate. But the fact that William Shakespeare is considered one of the greatest authors ever, and yet our people, our language, especially English, I don't know about much else because we really don't get exposed to it. They won't expose us here in the United States to pretty much foreign stuff until it's been Americanized, like The Office. They didn't mention that it was a UK show first. Fly the Concords. There was a UK radio broadcast. They announced it, but they did. That's the thing. Is like there's never like a cast back. It's like they try and pass these remake ideas as new ideas. I don't think I ever finished that idea before. But instead of making like the Matrix, remaking the Matrix, find an older movie that flopped in the fucking office, in the box office, but should have done well, and watch it and see what went wrong with the movie. Look at it, check the direction, all that stuff, the music, the scoring, and okay, this one didn't do well, but it was obviously was supposed to do well enough that they made it into a movie. They had faith in it at some point in time. And again, a new story versus like Indiana Jones Part 3. A new story versus a story no one has any idea about besides the trailers versus the new Batman. You're gonna lose. It was like, oh, and then comparatively, like, oh, I wish we went and saw Batman, because you don't. I mean, taking in new information is just not something a lot of people really want to do a lot of, which I think is why a lot of people don't really like to try new music. They don't really try. You know what I mean? It's just, or if they do, it's like a superficial. There's so many people that say like, I like this band, I like Alice in Chains, I like so and so, I like this people right there. I'm like, what songs do you like? And they started listing off the songs that are the singles on the radio. Technically, yes, it's the band, technically whatever, but you more like their singles. You don't really like the band. You couldn't name someone in the band. You couldn't, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't. I like to consume more deeply, and a huge problem with music nowadays is that there's no artist development. They don't. Back in the day, the band would move into the studio month, 2, 3, unless they came prepared. Which I mean, that happened. But the um, bigwigs, the corporate bigwigs, would put these huge budgets for studio time, and the band Metallica, Guns N' Roses would move into the studio, and they'd either have some ideas or whatever, and there would be a producer on hand, Rick Rubin, someone of that type, Tony Iommi, not Tony Iommi, Tommy Mottola, and there'd be a producer there that would go, not good enough. Hey, cut that. We're gonna cut that bridge The first time you go through it, we're not going to go 4 times. We're just going to do it 2 times. Okay, we're just going to fade that out. That the outro is way too long. We're just going to fade that out, and that now we've got like a 3, 4, 5 minute song. Like if you actually listen to Nirvana, "Smell Like Teen Spirit" off of the album, the solo goes too long. Whoever made the call to cut that solo in half made the right call. Touch, Feel, and Stand by Days of the New has a similar type situation, either with the solo or maybe he does. I think at the end he does the "Finally Found a Reason" too many times. The chorus just goes too many times. But those kind of decisions are made by producers and people that they're not gatekeepers, but they're sage-like people that have been in the industry long enough to know and to make calls like that, to tell Tom Petty, to tell Cobain, to tell these people that make these huge hits, you need to shorten that up. This needs to be better. That needs to be more like the intro is great, the verse is great, the chorus falls off. And when you're proud of what you did or you're happy with what you did, someone telling you that can be really upsetting. But if you can learn how to muster that anger and upsetness and turn it into creativity. My mom, for instance, told me one time, I asked honest opinions about one of my songs that I had, well, about my album. And she's like, I like this, whatever, but the beginning of this one song is a little boring. And I could see that it hurt her feelings that I have to say that. But I remember like I wasn't pissed at her, but I just got home and I was like, boring. It's boring. Well, that's one thing you're not going to accuse this fucking song, this intro, of being ever again. You know what I mean? And I just channeled it in. It wasn't a hateful type thing. I turned it into like a really nice, like this reverse guitar solo. The string section comes in and it's just like doing all this fucking orchestration. It's just mellowing down and then this reverse solo comes in and it's doing its thing. And then the orchestration of the violins and stuff is doing stuff in the background. And it kind of fades away and the voice comes in and there's no way you can say it's boring anymore. And so I was like, I thanked her for the advice, and then, I mean, for being honest about it. And I was like, it's not boring anymore. I played it. She's like, no, that's definitely not boring. But she said the song was more upbeat than the lyrics are now, and now it seems like the lyrics are off. And I'm like, well, that's awesome because I've always wanted to write a song that sounded very happy, and if you actually listen to the lyrics, it's god awful. And I've always wanted to do a song that sounded like it's really god awful. If you listen to the lyrics, it's actually rather upbeat. Just I like fucking with people's heads and expectations. It's all about expectations and whatever. If you can manage that, then you can manage everybody very very well. Like if I'm not saying like downplay your album and stuff, but if you release like a really really good album, um, I'd rather release several mediocre albums and then come out with a badass album. Even if I had that badass album in my belt, under my belt, in the vault recorded. Because, like Nirvana's Nevermind was everybody's intro to Nirvana, most people's intro. Some people heard Bleach, but most people hadn't. So, um, the pressure to follow up such a huge album, that's gotta be horrible. How do you beat an album like Nevermind? I don't think In Utero did it. It may have been exactly what Nirvana was going for, but it's not what the audience wanted. I think they should have teamed up with Butch Vig again. And probably a controversial thing, but I think Dave Grohl should have been in Pearl Jam, and Dave Abruzzese should have been in Nirvana, because supposedly Kurt was not upset, but he kept on asking for like, especially like for something in the way, and unplugged to play softer, play softer, play softer. Well, Dave has no problem with that. Dave is more of that type of player. Very metronomic, very lot of dynamics to his playing. Dave Grohl has adapted and gotten more in his playing, but back in the day, like, he even admitted, like, he's like, you're gonna, it's like, I'm gonna be the best player, but you're gonna leave going, holy crap, that guy was beating the shit out of those drums, and that's what he did. And so, I mean, looked like Animal back there from the Muppets, Dr. Teeth and the Medicine Band, I believe, or something like that, Medicine Show Band, something like that. But yeah, it was because Pearl Jam wanted to do more of a rocking kind of, you know what I mean? And I think Dave Grohl probably would have done good in that. Um, and I think Dave Eberzees would have done better in Nirvana, and that would have been a weird swap up. Everything went a different way, but that's neither here nor there. And one thing I was thinking about today is like we should do something because we've lost a lot of people to addiction. I was close. I was close. I had my own problems with opiates for a bit. They were prescribed. I wasn't doing anything non-prescribed. I think that's why I made it out, um, and why I'm not on. I'm still taking tramadol, but I'm tapering off of that. The reason I was doing that is because I'm still doing this because I have my serotonin is low. I've always been depressed, anyways. So coming off of tramadol was like after, especially after like 10 years, was like coming off of an antidepressant and an opiate simultaneously. No, thank you. But I quit OxyContin and oxycodone cold turkey. Doctor asked if I wanted taper. I was like, nope. I'm just gonna mess that up. So just go ahead and just don't refill my prescriptions. And he's like, okay, well, call if you need it. I didn't. I started smoking pot. It's legal here in Michigan. Thank you, Lord. I mean, it's legal everywhere according to the Bible. If you follow the Bible, it's legal. Um, Matter of fact, it's on page 1. But so the smoking a lot of pot has kept me from doing opiates. I'm using oil. I make my own can of butter and a can of oil, and I can cook edibles. I've got some nice brownies. Too much, and you'll get knocked out. Um, I have smokable, um, and then um, for weekends, Fridays are trigger days for me because Friday is when we get high day, and it's just really bad on me. So I get some really strong pre rolls, some hydros, and hydroponics, and I smoke those on Friday. And I haven't touched Oxycontin, oxycodone, and my tramadol. I'm down from 8 a day to 3 a day, and so I mean I should be good. Um, I want to come the rest of the way off of it and just stay off of it. It didn't really do anything for me anyways anymore. It's just I've been on it for so long, it just doesn't do anything aside from make me sick when I don't have it. But oh crap, my back is popping. Uh, yeah, I mean, I wish I had. I mean, if I with interaction, it'd be easier to like find out if anybody had anything they wanted to say or wanted to talk about. Um, Throw out some questions. I'm an open book. I don't give a shit. I'll talk about anything. So, like I said, I just like to talk. You just give me a subject, I'll go off for freaking days. if I ever did like that stand up thing, that's probably what I would try and do. Is try to get like the thing about, especially with comedy, it doesn't have to be um, directly about the thing. You just have to be loosely surrounded. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, if you get like a thing like someone prompts you with kid, like can I get a prompt? Kids, kids. Remember when you were young and like you're riding your bike and you know, and that's like freedom. You know what I mean? That was like ultimate freedom. You had a bike and you could just go anywhere you wanted to. It was like a little person's car. Like a young adult's car. I mean, you start out with the big wheel, and that gets you around the block. And you get the bicycle, and that gets you around the neighborhood. And so you get a car. You gotta get a job. You gotta get insurance. And it's just one fucking hassle after a goddamn another, and that is just like fucking having kids. It is just one fucking hassle after a fucking another. They just never. Why? 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 It's cause. Why isn't that ever a good enough answer for anybody? Scientists even now. Is there dark energy? What? Okay, here's a hypothesis. What if there is dark energy and dark matter? What if? Okay, when you take a photo, back in the day, you take a photo, it's going to give you a negative. You get the negative developed, it flips it, inverts the colors, and you get your picture. What if you just took a picture of dark matter? Why do we just take a picture? Why do we take a picture of the negative? Why don't we ever take a picture of the actual thing? Why take a picture of the negative and invert it? I'm sure there's a process and whatever, but it's weird that it does that when you consider the fact that if there is, okay, time goes forward. Thermodynamics suggests that it goes backwards simultaneously. So that would be negative. Therefore, time goes this way with the plan and goes this way with that same plan in reverse to come back and touch each other back over here and make a complete circle. Now, if this one goes this way and this one goes awry, but this one goes fucking normal, when they come back over here, they won't touch right, which is not possible because it has to connect. So and then this will just demolish kind of the way they talk about how with time travel, the grandfather clause, if you go back in time to try and stop you know what I mean, then basically you unwrite yourself out of history. So when that time frame, it would work and be successful up to the time point where you were supposed to be born. But because of what you did, you would never be born. So therefore, you could never go back in time to fix it. So therefore, it undoes it all and just keeps on going. There's a way around the grandfather paradox, but that's a whole movie that I wrote. Um, so, but that's the same thing that would happen. We don't know for sure that this is the first time we've been through this. What if this is like the sixth or seventh time we've been through it, and there's just subtle enough changes that we remember like deja vu stuff. But back to the dark matter. What if that negative exists all here? So everywhere there's solid here, there's empty there. Everywhere there's empty there, there's solid there. And there's so much solid in that empty that gravity starts leaking over to our sides and just overlaid over top of what we're doing right now. It's just the negative inverse of it. So gravity comes from that side because it's so strong. On top of that, in order to have time, you have time warp dilation, which requires gravity. Huge amounts of gravity, like a black hole. There are scientists that believe that the universe is headed into a black hole. Well, that would be the undoing of us and into nothingness that would then spit out the Big Bang that becomes what we are. And that traveling between something and nothing would create the time dilation we know as 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second time, because things can't. If there's no time, I can't move my hands. See, that it's not just. It's just not. It's not just about moving this way and this way and this way and this way and this way. I need time in order. If I didn't have time to get here, it's just like, and it would just stop. So I need time just to get there, just to do that. Plus the space to move around in it. It's all under the fabric of time space, like they say. Um, but yeah, so I'm going crazy out here, and I'm having fun doing it. I enjoy it, and yeah, I've gotten to making my own breads and stuff. Hell yeah, I got a bread maker, so I don't have to go to the. I mean, when I go to the store, instead of getting like a loaf of bread, I just get some bread flour. I get some. I've got everything else like the yeast and things, and the bread is so good. The recipes are very simple. For like some honey white. It's just like I eat so little now that one slice is enough to make a sandwich out of. It's got I can make toast. I mean, whatever. I can make sourdough. I can make pizza dough in my bread maker. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good. On top of that, I've got pot oil. So any breads that I want to make that have call for large amounts of oil. Hey, I like to go green, just like the next guy. It ain't easy being green. It's not easy being green. Um, that was the Muppets. That was a messed up show. They had a pig horned up for a frog. Meanwhile, Gonzo with his big nose. Oh, he wanted some bacon, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Instead, he hooked up with Camilla the chicken. Camilla didn't even talk. Why not just get like an inflatable sheep or something? Or that has to be illegal. It can't be right. You gotta. He's literally a weirdo. Gonzo, look him up. He's a weirdo. And let's not play games. He's fucking that chicken. I don't know if he's using that big hook nose. I don't know if he's dropping trout and giving it a plow. I don't know. I just know that he is fucking that chicken. And poor Camilla can't say nothing except bok bok. And that is not letting anyone know what's going on inside. I don't think chickens have eyelids. I don't think they can blink, like let you know that like you're being held hostage. Or is that fish? Fish don't have eyelids. I don't remember. One of those animals. They don't got no eyelids. How you sleep? I just swim to the dark. We got caves. So as a kid, it was interesting growing up in California because I was biracial. I was, and then I'm not anymore. I don't know if you can tell, but I stopped about a year and a half ago. I'd had enough. It was too confusing on everybody else, so I just said, you know what, screw this. I'm not biracial anymore. But when I was a kid, as a kid, I was, and you experiment with things, and so I was experimenting with biraciality. I mean, it helped that I had two different colored parents, because then it really let my mind go with it, and believe. It was real. I had an operation, have it reversed. It's like, no, there's a while ago. So, um, but it was funny because out in California, it was a rather cool thing to like, hey, what race are you? I'm like, oh, I'm biracial, I'm black and white, and they're like, oh, so cool. And you get down south, and ain't so cool. Especially not cool when someone calls you abomination to God to your face, or that you're going to hell. Okay, I'm 8, man. How do you know where our souls go, and why did mine go there? Because my parents. Oh, Louisiana was so backwards. Louisiana is and was, and probably shall always be so backwards. They're on the French code, and for those that don't know what that means that everything is illegal unless we make a law saying it's legal. It's the most ineffective, stupid way to do the English code. Oh, by the way, the only state in the union to still use the French code. Every other state uses the English code, so you can go from California to New York. You just got to brush up on their statutes and stuff and still practice. If you leave Louisiana, you have to start law school all over. If you're coming from somewhere to Louisiana, you have to start law school all over. Um, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. You have to write a law for everything that's legal. I mean, you're thorough. I'll give you that. There's plenty of reason to start chopping heads off and locking people up and stuff because everything's illegal. Using a screwdriver the wrong way is illegal until they make a law that says you can use a screwdriver in that particular way to open a jar. That's illegal unless we make a law for it. In a totalitarian system, totally get it. Authoritarian. We gotta learn words, man. Holy crap, we gotta learn words. It's so bad and so sad to see people like throwing out stuff like, "Oh man, he's a communist, he's a fascist, he's a socialist," and they don't even know what those terms actually mean. They just know that it's associated with bad, and he's bad. So yeah, he's definitely communist, Marxist, socialist. Um, Probably a fucking, you know what I mean? Just on and on, and just like, okay, one's a system of money and whatever, and what you're afraid of actually is a dictatorial communism. Democratic communism really doesn't exist out there, and I don't think it's been tried. Um, and if it has, it wasn't like a fair try. You know what I mean? There's a try like, hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna learn how to try to play the guitar. I'm not good. You know what I mean? Or like, purposely like taking some scissors to the strings and stuff while you're playing, and like these strings keep breaking. I told you this guitar wood doesn't work well. I'm like, no, especially when you're cutting the chords, and I see you doing it intentionally. It's just people are so fucking stupid, man. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. They're so stupid it hurts my feelings. It's kind of like you just want to go. You're not being serious, right? Please tell me. If you're joking, that's kind of funny. If you're not, I can't be friends with you anymore. So please tell me that's a joke. Okay, well then you're just too stupid for me to hang out with anymore. And you have to do that sometimes. It's sad, but you gotta because, dude, Sandy is so great to ruin with lots of pie. Sandy's awesome to completely and utterly destroy your own will. When other people are doing it to you, they're destroying your sanity in the way that they want to, which is always beneficial to them. At least when you destroy your sanity, you're doing it in a way that's beneficial to you. Even if the benefit is just feeling good for a short time until the alcoholism starts taking its hold. Whatever the fuck it is that you do it. And you do it. It's not someone else fucking making you. When you're in the store arguing with some asshole. So yeah, I jump from subject to subject very quickly and very frequently. Sorry about that. Um, it's not that I don't care about the conversation that we're having. Don't think that. It's not that. It's not you. It's me. Don't want to put me by racial. I just couldn't do it anymore. Um, so yeah, no, I just like to. I don't know. I just like to roll with things. I'm working on a. Speaking of changing subjects, I'm working on a book called The Free Book. And it's about being truly, actually free, but it's also going to be a book that I'm not being charged for because it's just like stream of consciousness. It's insanity. I know that much. I know it's crazy. Because when I get a chance to just start typing, I just start just picking words to just throw together, and it's fun. I love it. I like it. I really like it a lot because there's so much fun in making absolutely no sense because you try so hard all the time to make sense so that you don't look stupid. You know, like when you're out with people and stuff, and the last thing you want to do is make no sense, and everybody's like, "What the hell, man?" But when you sit there and purposefully make no sense for long enough, um, that becomes the sense, that becomes the reason, and then you have a whole new reason for doing it, which is to be nonsensical. If you do it like nonstop, it becomes tiresome quickly because I don't know who out there's seen. I think you should leave. The Tim Robinson on Netflix. Um, Also, the Detroiters was on SNL. Um, he has a very odd sense of humor. It's very great, obviously, because the first two seasons got nominated for an Emmy immediately. I mean, it became one of Netflix's biggest shows quickly, and people were waiting and waiting, waiting for season three. And season three really did not do what season one and two did, um, because you kind of start expecting things, and you know, I mean, you kind of start seeing it coming because it's so off the wall. You have to go absolutely crazy. Um, which made me start, questioning, comedy and ludicrousness and insanity and all those other things. And I started thinking about it. I was like, well, I mean, if you just kind of live in this that kind of crazy world, if you've seen, I think you should leave. You know what I'm talking about. It's just fucked up, and it's funny. But if you just stay there all the time and you don't do anything else for too long, you find like that kind of humor probably starts to lose its humor. Just like everything, you build up a tolerance to it, and pretty soon you find yourself cracking up at normal things like the mailman. You know, he's just going. Oh wait, he's gonna put the mail. He put the mail on the slide because you've gone so insane with your comedy that that becomes your normalcy. So therefore, normalcy would seem crazy and insane and funny, and that's what causes laughter is the expectedness of something and the sudden pivot and there's a release of energy. Um, they've done studies and stuff on it, and I've studied comedy for since the '80s. That was like the last golden age, and I think we're coming up on another one because and that's good because the last golden age ended of comedy ended with the music, and before that there was another golden age of comedy, and then the music came after that, and that was like before the '60s and '70s. You got Lenny Bruce and those kind of people that are doing their comedy, pushing boundaries, really kind of getting arrested for saying things that are just commonplace now. How can you be arrested for obscene language in a country that has freedom of speech? Why do we have an FCC? Yeah, FCC. I always get FAA, and FCC confused with FCC communication. Um, they're not even. We don't vote for them. I never asked for a police station group to watch my TV and to beep. I've been watching George Carlin since I was a fucking kid, man. Since I was little, and getting the jokes and my awakening, if you will, of this life that I'm living now was the 7 dirty words you're not allowed to say. Because I had all those feelings inside, I just didn't have the words. And here he is, like cocksucker motherfucker shit. I'm like, oh, yes, that cocksucker at school is a fucking fuck. I fucking hate that motherfucker. Thank you, George. Yes, I would like to shit on him. You know what I mean? I didn't have any of those words at 6. And just watching that, oh, I started cussing immediately after that because and I mean, his he did a bit on the word fuck, and I loved it because it's like I that's one of my favorite words of all time. I've been keeping it under control right now, but like my sister, this is the only person I know that cusses as much as me. I haven't got to talk to my daughter in many years. I wish I could have talked to her and my son, but supposedly my son says that she cusses like a sailor. And I'm like, yeah, she probably gets that from me because I mean, I once I started cussing, I really didn't miss a day. So by the time I was like again 7, 8 years old, I had already had my master down of mastering of when was the appropriate time to say it and when not to. Only had a very few slip ups. But the older I get, the less I care. I purposely wrote songs. I rewrote songs. I would have like cuss words in the lyrics, and our guitarist would come by and be like, "Yeah, you just change that." I'm like, "Why?" Because I'm like young and I was 14, 15. And he's like 17, 18. He's like, "Cuz man, if it gets on the radio, I don't want any of our songs to not be able to be played because of the lyrics." I'm like, "Damn good point." Okay, so I'm no more cussing. I don't cuss very often in my music. Even though in real life I fucking cuss all the fucking time. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't care. But oh well, in the songs, you're not gonna catch my songs like that generally. For every now and again, I do when it's necessary. But for if it's not necessary, I don't do it. It's just not. It's not shocking anymore. It's not. there's just no need for it anymore because I mean they already had like the parental warnings on things in the '90s and TV now. I mean, you got a president saying shithole, and you got fucking the newscasters saying, and we're just quoting the president shithole. You know what I mean? It's just like these words exist. Put it this way: there's like like on EQs on EQ when you're working in music. Um, there's a lot of professionals that'll tell you that like you should level match, make sure that the sound coming in is the same level coming out, so you can tell that what you're doing as you add EQ and stuff. If it's especially if it's an active, you're adding actual volume, and your ears tend to perceive volume, louder volume, as just being better. So when you add EQ, it makes the volume louder, so your ears automatically perceive it as better, even though it may not actually be better. So that's why you want to be coming in at one volume and coming out at the same volume. So that way, when you turn it on and off, you can hear what the EQ is actually doing. Um, Makes sense, but a lot of times they'll say like you shouldn't turn the input gain down, or you shouldn't turn the output gain down. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You should do this and this and this and this. And there's a people that swear by what they call subtractive EQ, which is you take away rather than adding more volume. You take away volume. Like if it's too bassy, rather than adding treble, you subtract bass. If it's too trebly, rather than adding in bass, you subtract treble. And people that swear by blah blah blah. You should never go positive with the. And my question, just to bring it all back home, is then why does the fucking knob go that way? If I'm not supposed to do it, why does the knob go that way? If I'm not supposed to say it, why does that word exist? If I'm not supposed to say cocksucker, then why are you acting like one? I'm not supposed to call you by your right name. I'm not supposed to call you an asshole, but you say you are what you eat, and here you are. Ain't I a stinker? Um, I don't know, man. Um, there's some things that have been happening in the news recently that have been biblical in a way that says to me, "Oh, the end is nigh. Oh, dear Lord, the end is nigh." Me personally, I couldn't be more happy. I hope it is. Um, there's basically kind of one last thing to do, and then all bets are off. Basically, that loop that I was talking about. There's a passage in the Bible that Yeshua, Jesus, is speaking, and he says that the kingdom of heaven is like leaven that a woman hid in three parts in the bread, and she baked it until the whole bread was leavened. So, and then let him who hath an ear hear what the Spirit say. Um, well, if you think about it in three parts: past, present, and future, right? In the Bible, it talks about the God who is, who was, and who is yet to come, all being the same person. Um, so, if you think about it honestly, the past is done. It's already leveled. Past is leveled. we're in, it slopes down into the present where we're at here as that's going forward, and all this stuff in the back is just like a wave behind it. Um, now, we always say the future can be anything we write, but that's not true. It's just not. Because every decision every person makes right now snips millions. Right now, yes. The possibilities for 10 years from now are wide open. But as that time goes on, like I was talking about procrastination, the number of buds and possibilities it can be starts getting trimmed down until you're just down to the inevitability of what is. What was going to happen, anyways. If you think about it, really think about it. Because I was trying to explain this to my mom. I made sure we were on the way back home. Well, on the way. We were coming back from the UP. It was a 5-hour drive. And we were coming across this bridge. And I made sure to do that we're well on our way across the bridge before I told the story, just in case, like, jinxing or whatever. But I would explain to her, I was like, the way I'd say it is like, okay, we left about 2 hours ago, right? She's like, yeah. So we can't have had a flat tire and be stuck on the road 1 hour after leaving. We're on the road crossing the bridge. So all the flat tires we could have had, the numerous, think of all the millions of flat tires, each rotation on the road that could have rolled over something, anything, or just given out. All of those are gone. So any of those possibilities, boom, tire blowout, call. Boom, tire blowout, call. Any of those, anything else, car wrecks, someone wrecking into us, anything like that, is impossible to have happened because here we are now. So therefore, I can't. The future with me in the hospital from the car wreck from the trip home is disappearing. The closer we get to the house, the possibilities of meeting my true love on the way. I mean, all these things that were possible futures are disappearing as you just drive. So therefore, the present is going, the past is already leavened, and as we're going, we're erasing the possible futures. The futures is actually rising faster than the present is going. And we're unaware of it coming like a tsunami wave over top of our wave to smash, and then they're gonna, and the whole thing will be leavened. The whole thing, all of time will be one instant. If that makes any sense. It will be that little zero station that I was talking about will be whole. You notice that when they depict angels, they have a golden ring over their head. When MCU is, they're talking about the sacred timeline. There's a lot of stuff in the movies and stuff that we watch that people don't really realize is very, very prophetically biblical. The whole Thanos thing. If you actually read the Bible, it talks about how not there's going to be a snapping of fingers or whatever, but it does say in the twinkling of an eye, there'll be two people in the field. One will be taken and one will be left. Now, because being left is always considered being abandoned, people always assumed, myself included, that whoever was left behind, including those books that they wrote, the Left Behind books, those are the bad people. I posited another theory. What if we pass that time? All time becomes whatever, so God can see all the souls that have been and ever will be. He can judge them all in one fucking instant like that. Because all time is one time. He can see it all. It's all complete. It's all connected. So he can see it all. He can judge everybody simultaneously, split second. I pose this to you. If you were to go to bed right now and wake up tomorrow, and instead of loading the memories that you remember from yesterday and the school and all the other shit, if you woke up tomorrow and what loaded was a different entire memory, maybe even you having a different face, different body, who knows? You know what I mean? Just things went differently. And would you know? Would you care? Do you know it didn't happen this morning? You know for sure that you didn't wake up this morning and offload. Sure, you remember yesterday, but you're not. So if you're not there right now, did I really remember that? Was that a dream? Was that all a dream that I had as I woke up this morning? Everything that in my life. Would you? But imagine like how you woke up this morning is how you wake up tomorrow. The Bible says that God will wipe away all tears, and that there's a lot of stuff. Um, but that no, he would have it that no soul perish. That's one of the main things he's talking about in Revelation. God would have it that no soul perish. Well, God can do anything, so why would he not have what he wants? Okay, well, how can he have what he wants and no soul perish and all these asshole? You know what? And it even says so in the Bible, eternal death. Eternal death. That means you never were created. That means God doesn't have to be disappointed in you. That means God doesn't have to punish you. No one knows you. So they go on to this future from the past that never has you, never has Hitler, never has, Chairman Mao, never has the Vietnam War. Tesla is actually taken seriously rather than, and free radiant energy is given to the people rather than the thief that is Thomas Edison, who just stole people's inventions. He's the original 1-800 invent, who just scams people out of money. Um, all the things that have gone wrong in history don't go wrong because those people that screw things up, mom miscarries. You know how simple it'd be for the mom to miscarry and none of us to ever remember? It would burn out. If you have a brother or a sister that didn't make it, if your mom miscarried in the first, and under the first time, like the first 2-3 weeks of it happening, you think she's going to sit you down and tell you about the sister? You think you're going to remember the sister, the brother that you never had? So this whole worry about like how am I supposed to enjoy being in there if all my friends are, you won't even remember your friends. Your friends will never piss off God, so therefore they won't go to the lake of fire to burn. Now it says all of us will go according to our deeds. Some take a little dip, some take a long swim. I really don't know, but I just have to go by what I've seen because the stuff they're preaching in church is that if you don't do your shit right, you're going forever. No, if you actually read the Bible, there's only three that go forever. Study to show thyself approved is what the Bible says, and what I'm seeing from these churches and churchgoers is that they don't understand their own, pardon the burp, they don't understand their own religion that they profess to believe in, which drives me nuts because I can take someone who doesn't know, I can tolerate someone who misunderstands, I can understand someone who apologetically makes a mistake, but someone that really, really proclaims to believe in something and then has hypocrisy, lying, or whatever in their DNA, there's I believe it's the Mennonites or the Amish up here. For some reason, they shop at Walmart of all places. Um, but they will definitely down their nose at you. You know, what I mean, like you're one of the damned. I'm like, you're here buying stuff too. What the fuck are you? On top of that, once you make someone a demon, or bad, it becomes okay to do horrible things to them. And so their religion teaches them that um, we're all a bunch of hell-bound assholes. So it's okay for them to fuck us over. Um, they would go into Walmart and change the price tags for stuff that's lower priced. And if you're like, that's not the price on there, they would then want to speak with a fucking manager to get a lecture about, how the customer's always right and how they shouldn't have the price tag on it that it has saying it's a cheaper price. If it's, you know what I mean? Because why not? We're all hellbound. So what matters if they basically steal from us? And that's what becomes the problem when you start having these factioned off um, people. We've got the answer. They're all bad. If you're not with us, you're against us. Yeah, I mean it's just so terrible. It's just a terrible way to live. It's a terrible thing to do to people. Severing families apart, severing friends. I mean, severing faith and trust. Because what happens when you find out that you've been lied to? Well, how could God look? You, dude, you stick your finger in an electric socket, and how could God allow electricity to flow through my body and kill me? Really? And there's a lot of people that like to, especially like atheists, like when bad things go. See, how could there be a God? And or where's your God or whatever like that. When bad things happen, when good things happen, they sure love to take the credit, but they sure love to give the blame to God when bad things happen. And it's kind of like your brain's fucked up, and I don't know what's wrong with you, but I don't think I can help you. I'd like to, but I don't think I can. Well, you just believe stuff that's dude. You believe in science? Yeah, you just believe in what you're being told. Have you actually looked through the James Webb Telescope? No, then you don't know what's in there. Have you looked at the schematics and plans to find out that it's not just a 3D image generator designed to make starry, very high resolution star like images? Predictive images based on AI learning and previous pictures of the stars, as well as what people expect to see, drawings and paintings and things like that of the cosmos, actual pictures of the pillars of God, you know what I mean, or whatever that's called, pillars of creation. Um, and then have James Webb Telescope start just manufacturing images. It's in space, so how are we going to check on it? Um, just disturbing. How much people think they know. They don't know anything. None of us do. But the higher you get in education and with certification and stuff like that, the more entrenched you become in your belief till it becomes basically a religion. Yeah, atheists hate when you call atheism a religion. It's not a religion, it's not a religion. So then you pull up a goddamn dictionary and you look up the word religion, and it just means a set of beliefs of how everything got here. So, how is atheism not a religion? Science is a religion. They're trying to describe how everything got here, why we're here, what's here. But even if there's no purpose and we're going to figure out how we got here, okay, kind of depressing, but sure. Very nihilistic with the there's just no meaning to anything. We're just, well, then why do your stupid fucking thermodynamics laws say that things move from order to disorder? How do you know your carbon dating is 100% correct when we haven't been studying carbon dating long enough to go back 4 million years? Sure, I get carbon dating. I use this analogy like a house is decaying. If you're already seeing it, good on you. But the termite infestation inside, you don't see that. Then one day the plaster starts falling a little bit, and some more, and the roof shingles kind of fall off, and then there's some storms going, and then one day it just completely collapses because there's no structure to it anymore at all. That's actually holding it up. One tree limb falls on it, and the whole thing falls. Carbon, the carbon that we use to carbon date, carbon 14. What if its decay rate is not steady for 6,000, 7,000 years, somewhere around 3,000 years, it just falls the fuck apart, or whatever the latest, after whatever we've dated that we know for sure to be accurately dated. Aside from that, aside from having something that we actually know the date of, we can't guarantee anything past the things that we know the actual date of. Because we don't know what carbon, and we haven't studied. I mean, the carbon dating hasn't been around long enough to study to know. It's so weird. So a little bit back to religion, back to music, back to everything. In the beginning, there was blackness. Blackness on the void. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. So low bass frequencies, and Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, think about frequency and shit. There were three things. But anyway, so the frequency, there are different frequencies of different stuff. So bass frequencies are big, long waveforms, and they can travel long distance. So that becomes so wide and so big that we can't hear it anymore. It's just like so there's subsonic and supersonic sounds. We just can't hear it anymore. Um, then there's harmonics, and so like if you have an A at 440, you can jump up a harmonic from that. That'd be 1670 or 1760, and then you can jump up from that, and that would be whatever that would be, and then you can double that, and so whatever. Eventually, you get to the point where the frequencies, and as the frequencies get higher, their size gets small. They were like the base frequencies were like this, and as you start getting like the higher frequencies and higher frequencies until they're just like so small that it starts getting to the dog whistle type thing where you can't hear it anymore. But if you keep going and keep going, basically compressing that even more and making the frequency the vibration, that was the frequency, vibration, and this and else, but as it's vibrating, as you compress that down, at some point it becomes invisible but ultraviolet light. If you then do another harmonic on top of that, you start getting into the visible spectrum of what we can see of light. Now, if you do harmonics of that, I imagine you'd probably go from light to probably a gas. And then it would become like a molecule. You know what I mean? It would go from being light to being something you could touch, like an atom, if you will. It's something it becomes tangible and real. Um, Enough of that together, you get a gas. Compress the gas, you're gonna get a liquid. Compress the liquid, you're gonna get a solid. Compress the solid, you're gonna get a super solid. There you have everything. Sound, light, matter. All different frequencies of the same energy moving in set places at a set rate. And so it's going so fast. My analogy was, let's stop looking at Einstein's theory as being E equals mc squared and m equals e c squared. Mass equals energy times the speed of light. Now we are no longer trying to solve for mass becoming energy. We're trying to solve what mass actually is. Mass is energy moving at a frequency between 2 points, point A and B, at twice the speed of light. Because of this, on subatomic level, when you're looking through a subatomic microscope, it looks as if the atomic thing is blinking in and out of existence. What's actually happening is it's passing by itself so fast that you see it boom, 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 boom. It's probably doing so fast that it's going down here, it's going the first one, then the tail is coming there, then the middle, and then that's going, and then the last. So you probably have a past, present, and a future, all three going. And the only time it's going so fast, the only time you see it is when all three phase each other. Then it becomes solid, and then they go apart, and they do different things, and they come back together. But it's going so fast, it's like plink, 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 and scientists are going, oh, look at there, it's disappearing out of existence. No, it's just going faster than your eyes can see. It's on a vibration. Imagine a BB, okay? A BB. Now, this BB is on a trajectory to not slow down or anything like that. It just like sound. Sound moves at a frequency, not to be adjusted unless you change the pitch. Until you do something to this solid, it will stay. The frequency of this little BB will bounce between this part A and B at twice the speed of light. No further and no less. If I open up like that, it'll still be going like here. If I try and squeeze it, what's it going to feel like? Going speed of light, hitting here, hitting here, hitting here, hitting here, hitting here, hitting here. As I try to squeeze it, it's going to feel fucking solid. But it is a BB that is just going. It'll probably look solid because it's just. And like I said, just like a waveform on a set A to B. Now, what does that? I would have to say probably gravity of some sort. Something is making it. There's a neutral zone of not moving station, and then something's causing it to go above, and then causing it to go equal the opposite direction. It's causing it to go over, and equal. That's if you look at a waveform. That's exactly what's happening on a musical waveform. It goes positive 3 decibels, negative 3 decibels. Then if it goes positive 4 decibels, it goes negative 4 decibels. If it's positive 2 decibels, negative 2 decibels. And that's why the waveform uniformly looks like it's doing these little sawtooths, things like that. You know what I mean? It's doing these things like that. Same thing with solids. which means that your body right now, if I'm correct, your body is currently already moving the speed of light. You're already made up of energy. There's no energy to draw from the universe. You know that they're trying like, whoa, we gotta get to the speed of light. Well, look, this would all basically be moving at the speed of light. Able to touch, resist, all that stuff. Now, if it's just energy solving for mass, energy moving at the speed of light, it can draw energy from the universe. It can draw energy from parallel dimensions. It can draw energy from wherever it needs to. It's energy. And then to sum it all up, and I think I'm going to log out after this at 7 o'clock. To sum it all up, if that potential energy were to somehow, in the blackness of space, in the stillness of the void, if it was able to come up with a consciousness, you'd have God. That's all you need to have God. Pure energy that is conscious of its ability to do anything. To be solid, to be liquid, to be gas, to be asleep, to be whatever. And you've got God. You don't need a book. You don't need any forewarning. You don't need prophets. You don't need a church. He could be sleeping, having been sleeping this whole time, and decide to wake up for 30 seconds. Hey, I don't like any of this. Get out of here. And then we're just gone, and then he goes back to sleep. What would we do in that situation? What would you do? Complain to his boss, to God's boss? Write a stern letter from oblivion? Oh, dear God, when you evaporated me from history and all life as we know it, I felt kind of slighted. I know you have the right to do whatever you want, but I think this was a bit heavy-handed, sir. You couldn't have Sodom and Gomorra'd me or something like that. Pillar of salt would be fine. At least I'd still didn't exist. Now I'm just in here writing on paper that doesn't exist, in a place that doesn't exist, with hands that don't exist, pen that doesn't exist, on paper that doesn't exist, and I am pissed, sir. Sincerely, with lots of love, Sean. Now, where am I going to send this to? Oh, yeah, I can stick you right up my ass because that's all that's going to happen. There's no one to complain to. And I think that's what bothers most atheists, is that they just don't want to have to they don't want to be accountable to anybody besides what they want to do. I've noticed that most atheists, and if there's any out there, I don't mean any harm. Just as they notice that a lot of Christians are blah 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 and blah 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 and blah 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 and so annoying and so this and so this and this and so hypocritical and so doing this. In that same way, I've noticed some things about atheists myself, and that is that I have not yet met an atheist that did not have some kind of dad issue. Dad died when they were young. Dad was abusive. Dad was an alcoholic. Something like that, abandoned the family, or went to Catholic school. Those are the two things that I've found create more atheists than anything else. Some people just kind of just give up on religion because so much time has passed and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and they were so sure it's going to happen at this time, it didn't happen, and they were convinced it was going to happen at this time, it didn't happen, and then someone gets in their ear and says, they've been saying that since the dawn of time, that the world's going to be coming to an end any minute now, and it hasn't yet. And they're like, Really? Like, oh yeah, there's all kinds of apocalyptic prophecies from different tribes around the world about how next Thursday at 7:02 it's gonna fucking all end. You know what I mean? It's every and then this other tribe says it's gonna be actually Wednesday at 5:04. You know what I mean? This religion over there says you're way off. We got 40 years. I'm not saying any of them are right. None of them have to be right. All of them can be wrong, and still, if if every religion on the face of the earth and every holy scripture was full of shit, that does not prove there is no God. That proves that humans are not good at writing about it. Now, I have reasons, and I could go through it, and I'm not going to, why I believe the Holy Bible is actually God's word. But there, people say there's no evidence. There's actually a ton of evidence that whatever. It's 7:05. As I said, going from who knows, man. I mean, if you compress super solids, does it become consciousness? Because it's just energy, right? Compressed energy until you have pretty much almost everything compressed. Squeeze so hard that a thought pops out. You know what I mean? So much energy is squeezed so hard, like, can't we do? We could do something else, couldn't we? Couldn't we do something else? Who the fuck said that? I think I did. I just want to do something else. You know, just a consciousness, just talking to the rest. Can we do something else? Anything? This is boring. I don't know. Turn on a light. It's dark. It's fucking. That's too bright. Spread that shit out. Jesus. Oh wow, that's a lot. Oh. Oh, I think we're gonna be busy for a while. Oh, it goes down that. It goes that way and that. Whoa. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works. And maybe at the end of time, if we are going into a black hole, what do they do? Gravity compresses till even light can't escape, and squeeze it until it becomes fucking nothing, and then it becomes like a fucking super solid, and then that gravity becomes so intense that it just again on the other side, just do something else, anything else, something. I don't know. Let's tell a story. Let's do something else. We've already done that other one. The other one sucks. Let's not. Don't know. Get that. Spread the light out. You guys don't remember doing this before. I remember this shit. Well, that's bully for you. I remember this shit. I'm not blinding my fucking self twice. Nor am I gonna put my kid on that fucking cross again. Fuck that. Tell you what, this time, no assholes. And then wake up tomorrow. The presence of that future past is steamrolling over our current present. You go to sleep, wake up in the morning. Every asshole's gone. The great and terrible day of the Lord. You're out in the field with your friend, talking and just laughing away out of park. And you're like, you know what I mean? Dude, how long have I been sitting out here talking to my damn self? I could have sworn there's someone out here. I was down there. Oh, that's right. I was talking to my dad inside, and then who's I talking to this whole time? I don't know. That's weird. It's like deja vu, like I've been here before. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. You don't remember that fucking person. A cherished love. Didn't make the cut. Just don't remember them at all because they never were made. To me, it sounds like fucking heaven. This earth, no assholes. The planet is amazing. The animals are amazing. The food, the plant life, the plant food. Maybe if we talk with God, there'd be some kind of like growable type meat. You know what I mean? Type thing that tastes about the same, so that then no one has to die, no one has to hurt, nothing has to hurt, nothing has to be bad. And that's this is the last 709. This is a good one to end on. What I love about the Bible, because it says that there's a new heaven and new earth coming. If you it all ties together if you actually are paying attention the whole time, because when he got finished with each step of the and he looked, what do you say? It was good. It's good. It'll do. It's good. You know what I mean? There's no pride in there. It's like, damn, that is all. Look at that sunset. I hung that motherfucker up there. There's none of that shit going on. It's like, it's good. It's good. I got some ideas of how it can be better. But for my first time around, it's pretty good. Pretty good. What we got over here? Animals? Yeah. Mine's the platypus. We got some good shit going on over here. Who? Which donkey fucked a duck? Okay, which beaver? Fuck. What? Who? Whatever. What wascally wabbit got into some costumes and had Elmer Fudd put his pud where he should not? Because I didn't make that fucking thing. Look at that thing. It's kind of cute, but I don't think I made that. Is that make that? He's got poison claws. Yeah, I made that. Yeah, poison claws. I definitely made that. Oh, that's right. I got really fucked up on. It was Friday, right before I did the Sabbath thing. Right before Saturday, right before I went to bed, I got really fucked up. Platypus. I remember now. Yeah. I remember now. I have a whole reason for that. I'm not going to talk about it here. We're amongst angels. We don't talk that way. All right. You have a wonderful night. Anyone that's tuned in or not, take care.